welcome to the Explainer. Today, we're going to break down one of the biggest line items you'll find in any modern business: enterprise cloud spending.
So we're really going to focus on this single core question because, the answer to this pretty much defines a huge part of our modern digital economy.
Okay, let's talk numbers. And they are staggering. Every single year, enterprise budgets commit hundreds of billions of dollars to their annual cloud spend. And when you look at where all that money is actually going, two names just keep popping up: Amazon Web Services and Microsoft Azure. Now, to really get why this spending is so massive, we have to kind of shift our thinking. For these large organizations, the cloud isn't some optional trend anymore. It's become a fundamental utility. Honestly, it's just as essential as electricity for powering the digital operations of the world's most important institutions. And we're talking about the absolute foundational systems that run our society. Things like securing our most sensitive data, powering complex AI models, and supporting the core operations of banks, governments, and healthcare. This is serious stuff. So the vast majority of those enterprise budgets, they flow to these two dominant players. But what's interesting is that each one has a really distinct strategic advantage. So let's dig into their approaches, and we'll start with the original market leader. Amazon Web Services, or AWS. They basically invented this market. And they continue to lead through just sheer scale, a super mature platform, and a powerful, deeply entrenched ecosystem. For a long time now, AWS has been the go-to platform for companies that were pretty much born in the digital era. So think about organizations that need absolutely massive global scale and require really customized infrastructure to run their services. These key workloads, this is the heavy lifting of the internet. We're talking about everything from delivering your favorite streaming shows right to your screen to training those incredibly complex AI models that are changing just about every industry. And this right here, this illustrates a key economic factor. See, once an enterprise builds all its systems on a platform like AWS, the cost, the time, and the operational risk of trying to leave they become prohibitively high. Okay, so now let's switch gears and look at Microsoft. Their strategy for Azure has been nothing short of a masterclass in leveraging the company's existing dominance inside the corporate world. Azure has seen this incredible, rapid growth really by focusing on established corporations and government clients. Organizations that have already been trusting the Microsoft ecosystem for decades. So here's the crucial point. Imagine you're a Fortune 500 company already dealing with these huge Microsoft licensing fees. For you, adding Azure isn't some totally separate decision. It just feels like the most logical, integrated next step for your IT infrastructure. All right, so let's get back more directly to our core question. What are these enterprises actually paying for in these multi-million-dollar bills? Where does all that money go? Well, the scale of these reoccurring infrastructure costs for a large enterprise can be just mind-boggling. We're not talking a few $1,000s here. We're talking about an annual cloud spend that often hits millions, and sometimes even tens of millions of dollars. And those recurring costs? They typically break down into four main buckets. As you can see, the real bulk of the expense comes from two pretty fundamental things: the raw computing power you need to run your applications, and the massive amounts of data you have to store. And this difficulty in cutting back on costs is precisely why cloud providers enjoy such predictable, high-margin, recurring revenue from their enterprise clients. It is a very, very powerful business model. So ultimately, you have to realize this spending isn't just another IT expense on a balance sheet. No, it's the fuel for the global digital infrastructure that all of us rely on every single day. Understanding this flow of money is absolutely key, but it also raises a pretty critical question for the future, doesn't it? As enterprise reliance on these platforms gets deeper and deeper, what is the true long-term cost of all this vendor lock-in?